Hi, thank you so much for agreeing to serve as an FBLA judge for District 15. We have our district competition coming up at Southeast on Tuesday, February 4th. Just wanted to touch base with our judges to first thank you and second to provide you an orientation to what to expect that day. Your decision that day will help us to determine who represents our district at the Missouri Leadership Conference, which is coming up in April. And then who advances from there will go to our National Leadership Conference in Salt Lake City, Utah. So we do appreciate so much your being willing to serve in this capacity. Your students, or the students that you rate, will have a set of predefined criteria. You will have a very specific scoring guide for the event, and the students will have an award session later in the day, which will tell them who wins and advances to the next level. We do have three types of events. Some are prejudged in performance, where students submit work in advance, and your job as a judge is just to grade the presentation of those materials. Others of you will be dealing with test and performance combos, where students ahead of time took a test and then came here today, or the day that we have our districts, to receive a prompt about 20 minutes before they walk into the judging room. And then they go in and it'll be kind of worked as a role play, and your job as judge will be to grade their understanding of the prompt and how well they present their answers. And then some events are just simply performance. They knew the prompt in advance, they have guidelines, and your job as a judge that day is to grade their presentation and the work. A list of the different events is here, so you should know what event you're assigned to. If not, it is linked on our District 15 website, so you can see what event that you are in, and then you can see which category it falls in. Each event will have a rating sheet. Here's an example of a rating sheet. They are based on standards, so basically you will bubble in the specific standard that they meet. And each member, or if it's a team, each team has their own rating sheet. So be very careful that day to ensure that you're using the proper rating sheet for the proper competitor. Review the rating sheet ahead of time before the first student walks in to make sure you understand the categories that you're grading. We really ask that you make notes on the page just so that you know what's going on and so that the students have good feedback. So you'll see there's a category, for instance, demonstrates understanding of the event topic, and then you will look and decide where do they fit on there. If it's not demonstrated at all, it's a 0. If it demonstrates it in a certain way, it might meet the expectations, or if it's above and beyond, it would get exceeds. There are no middle numbers. You do have to choose a specific number in each category. So step 1, you'll use your performance schedule as a reference, and you'll select the rating sheet for the upcoming student presentation. We will have a list of competitors in the order they should be coming. Now, there are some students who may not arrive. That may be drops. Your room administrator will walk in and let you know that that's not who's there. But always confirm when they come in, if they don't introduce themselves, that you do have the proper sheet out. So when the student arrives to the room, make sure you have the right sheet. And depending on the type of event, you may listen to the student presentation and ask questions, or some of the events are more of a role play where you will bounce back and forth in dialogue. Students at our districts will not be using projectors, which means they will present to you probably using a laptop or with actual materials that are printed. So we just wanted to be aware of that. They've been moving away from using projectors. They're not using them at the National Leadership Conference this year in Utah. So our district is mirroring that. As a student is performing, take some notes and begin scoring them. Please leave comments. That is the absolute best thing that you can do. It honestly means more than the score for students because they get these sheets back. Positive, constructive feedback is really helpful. Even for good presentations, whatever they can do to improve is helpful. And if it's a really poor presentation, that advisor needs that feedback so they know how to better prepare their students in the future. So again, there are no half points. Everything must fit specifically in a number. So like it's a 3 or it's a 7. You can't choose a 5 in between. They redid these scoring guides a couple of years ago to make that more clear because it was so arbitrary. You will, once you choose the bubble, transfer your number over to the side for the points earned. And then, whenever the presentation is finished, you'll finish scoring the student. Generally speaking, we try to move on within 3 minutes. So you want to score them quickly and write some notes quickly. Total the score for the student. If there are any penalty points, make sure that all judges are in agreement on the penalty points. One penalty that's possible is a dress code violation, and we'll have a copy of the dress code in the packet. And then you just continue on. Subtotal all the scores if there are penalties. For instance, they continue talking beyond their time limit, they are not in proper dress code, or they don't follow the event guidelines. Then you can take off points for any of those and then remove the penalty and put that in there. Also, be sure you sign in date so we know which judge, in case there's an issue, we can come back to. The event administrator will collect rating sheets to double check your math. The event administrator will sit outside your door. You'll have a timekeeper in the room for you, but the administrator will probably try to take about halfway through your rating sheets and double check your math in the hallway, and then the rest of them at the end. We do ask that you wait to leave until we have verified all scores, just in the event, for some events, in case there is a tie. For certain events, ties cannot occur in the overall total combined score of judges. If you're in one of those events, then one judge will break the tie to ensure that all competing members and teams have no duplicate scores. And your event administrator will help you if that happens. There is a tiebreaker column because there can be no ties in certain events. So if you're the person who has to break the tie, then in the tiebreaker column, you will choose which team you felt was one better and go ahead and award that as well. So we do ask that judges not discuss with each other their scoring of students, just so that everybody is consistent. So, you may consistently score everyone low, and that's okay because that's your scoring. We just don't want other judges to make up their mind based on persuasion. And then avoid writing a final score until after the student has completed the presentation. Please do listen to everything they have to say before you give them a score. And that's basically it. Please contact me if you have any questions. When you arrive that day, we ask that you go to the ballroom to check in at the top of the stairs. You'll have a judge packet. Please be sure you are there 10 to 15 minutes before your event begins, because we cannot start students preparing until all judges are present. So we do ask that you do that and check in with us up at the top. Don't go straight to the room that you're assigned to. Go to the check-in room at the ballroom. And again, if you do have any questions, please do email me. I will be glad to answer them for you. If you want to look ahead of time, that is the link to the competitive event topics. Certain events, like broadcast journalism, ethics, you can see here, some of the events video have a prompt. They already have a topic that they have to prepare in advance for. So if you want to be aware of what it is that you're getting ready to walk into if you're in some of these events, you can go and look on the national website. The national website also has a competitive events page where you can read about any of the events. So if you want to know more about the event that you're assigned, you can scroll down here and find the event. If you're in banking and finance and click on it, it'll give you an idea of what they're doing. And then you can even look ahead at the rating sheets if you want to, just so you have an idea of what you will be doing day of. So again, we thank you so much for agreeing to help us with our event this year. And again, if you have any questions, let us know.